Hey there, y'all. I am here with you today with a tips and tricks video, and obviously it's a festival day, so the Catman and I are getting ready to go out, but he's fixing us a snack, so I thought I'd take a few minutes to try and make this video. I have tried to make this video twice, and it was so gigantic that my phone actually shut it down and stopped recording it, and I didn't realize it because I was rambling. Go figure. So I'm gonna try and do this quickly. This video is really basic things you need to know to shop for cloth pads and menstrual cups on Facebook, which I know is kind of like this crazy, complicated seeming system. And as I started doing research to make this video, it is an overwhelming, crazy, complicated system. I guess we just kind of get used to it as we learn. But so I tried to identify some really basic things that you need to understand that will help you navigate Facebook shopping for cloth pads like a pro. So let's go ahead and get started. Important to note first, unlike Etsy and Big Cartel and that Hyena one, Facebook is not just like a one-stop shopping center marketplace. It's not how it works. You have to spend a lot of time snooping around and figuring out which groups are going to be right for you, which makers are going to be right for you, which makers you want more alerts from, etc., etc. And so you're gonna need to start out by spending some time on YouTube, spending some time on Facebook, and figuring out what makers you want to seek out first, and what groups you would like to join. Otherwise, you're going to end up very quickly, as I think many of us did, with like 1,000 Facebook groups, and your phone is like constantly giving you notifications, and then it's a little overwhelming. So try to designate first a maker or three that you really, really want to seek out because you know they sell on Facebook. I recommend watching a lot of YouTube videos first. There are many channels that are much older and bigger and better than mine, where you can look at reviews and hear people talking about different groups, and you can get kind of insight and links and tips from them as well. And also a lot of makers now have their own YouTube channels, so you can actually kind of get a little personal interaction with them there and learn more about them. Once you've chosen a few makers that you really want to seek out to purchase from on Facebook, you need to search for their groups. And most of these groups, for obvious reasons, are private or closed groups. So you do have to request to join. And you know, that's fair, that's good. It's best for everybody. It's a very personal thing that we talk about in these groups. So sometimes a maker is like super quick to accept your request, but sometimes it takes them a little bit longer. It kind of depends on how many administrators are running the page and how busy that maker is at that time. So it could take anywhere from 10 minutes to 10 days for someone to accept your request. Have patience. In fact, that's kind of going to be the theme of this video. Have patience. All right, you've been accepted into your group. Very exciting. Time to shop. Not quite. There's a few things you need to look for first. Pinned posts are informative posts that the maker has pinned to the top of the page, and that is a Facebook feature in groups so that it doesn't like disappear and get lost in the news feed of that page or the timeline or whatever they're calling it now. Anyway, look for the pinned post. Open that pinned post and read it. It's going to have really basic information for you about how that group works and the rules. Sometimes a maker will even want you to sign the pinned post by agreeing to the rules and the protocols for that page. Spoiler alert, the rules are always don't try to sell anything here and don't be an asshole. In addition to pinned posts, you may want to look and see if your maker has any files. Files is not something you're probably used to looking for on Facebook, but it's right up there next to the About and you know, those other tabs up there. Here's a picture. Many makers have information in there about pricing, shipping, available materials. Sometimes even their photo albums are in that section, so always check there before you start asking a bunch of questions. All right, now you're fully informed about your maker and how her shop works. Let's talk about the types of sales that you can participate in on Facebook. Flash sales and RTS stockings are the most common way for you to shop for cloth pads on Facebook. And there are a million ways these kinds of sales can manifest themselves. Sometimes a maker will create an actual event that you can join to go to a sale, and it will announce, of course, the time and date that that sale will take place. Sometimes the maker will post a photo album full of images of the pads that will be for sale so that you can preview them. That's called a preview album, but you can't purchase them yet. That's just for you to look. What almost universally will happen is that a maker will announce a time and date for the sale, and then there will be some combination of photo plus time-stamped comment. First come, first served. Let's be clear. If a popular maker announces a stocking or a flash sale and you want to purchase something from that sale, you need to set an alarm and you need to set aside a good little half an hour of time so that you are ready to purchase beforehand, because these sales go so quickly. From really popular makers, I have seen even really large stockings disappear in under 3 minutes. Remember that these are individual makers behind these Facebook pages, and they're making, they can't make thousands of pads every week for you. I mean, some of them are quite prolific, but still, most stockings that I see on Facebook and RTS sales are between 10 and 50 pads total for sale. So now go up and look at how many members are in that group. 1,000, 2,000. So just remember, as you're preparing for these sales, that you really have to be ready to go and you have to be ready to move fast, because there's probably at least 100 other women also stalking and waiting to purchase that same pad that you want. Okay, it's time for the stocking. It is at 5 o'clock. Your alarm has gone off. You are already waiting there. The best thing you can do, especially if you're on a computer, but on your phone as well, is to go ahead and type out your PayPal address and have it copied so you can quickly paste it and hit enter. If you have the luxury of a preview album, you can even go ahead and paste your thing there. Just don't accidentally click send before the timestamp, because it will disqualify you from that sale. You're waiting. The moment that clock on your little computer or phone turns to 5 o'clock, click. You will immediately see other comments pop up at the same time as yours. And sometimes yours is the one that the internet picked up on quickest, and sometimes it's not. It is fast, it is exhilarating, it is frustrating. It just is what it is. A couple things you need to do also. If you do win this opportunity to purchase this pad, you need to provide the seller with your PayPal email address immediately, and you also need to immediately let her know if you are international to her. For example, if you are in Canada purchasing from an American seller, you need to let them know that you're Canadian. Or if you are in the UK, etc., etc. Make sure that that maker knows that you are international, because it will affect the amount of shipping charged to your invoice. Again, have patience. You need to allow some time to receive this. This is not Amazon Prime. Remember, yet again, individual person making all of these pads is also printing individual invoices, packing individual packages, and creating individual shipping labels. So you've got to give them a little bit of time to get through. Oh, make sure your address is correct in PayPal. And just in general, always use PayPal. Just use PayPal. It's safer for you, it's safer for the seller, it's better for everybody. If you feel super uncomfortable about posting your PayPal address as a comment on Facebook in these private groups, then you can usually comment me and private message your PayPal to the seller. If this style of shopping seems overly stressful for you, this may not be the type of sale that you want to try to participate in. However, there are many other types of sales on Facebook as well, such as, obviously, one of my favorite things about Facebook groups is the giveaways. Makers are very generous with giveaways and very interactive with their members in Facebook groups. Facebook giveaways tend to work very much like RTS sales in that there will be a photo of the prize, and then you comment or answer a question or post a funny meme, whatever the maker wants you to do. There's usually very specific rules about the giveaway. And you comment, and then the maker later will randomly choose one of those posts to win the giveaway. If you are lucky enough to win the giveaway, you will frequently be asked to pay for the shipping costs, which is totally fair because they're giving you wonderful handmade things as a gift just for being part of their group. I've won a couple of giveaways over the last year. Just enter a bunch of giveaways and good luck to you. DTP stands for draw to purchase. These kinds of sales are usually when a maker has a very unique or rare pad that they want to sell. This will be, again, very similar. There will be a picture, you comment on it, they randomly draw one of those comments, and then this time what you've won is the opportunity to purchase that item. I have zero experience with auctions, and frankly, I have no intention of getting involved in auctions ever. I have seen individual pads go in auctions for over $50, and that is just not something that's ever going to be reasonable for me. However, many of these auctions are done to raise money for charities or as kind of mini Kickstarters for friends and families that really may need that help. And so if you feel good about doing that and you can afford to participate in those options and bid and increasing bidding and auctions, right? Spend money, help somebody. It can be good. Group buys and pre-orders are getting super common. This is when a maker will pre-order a certain amount of a particular fabric and will allow members of that group to pre-order pads or scrundies or wet bags or whatever from that. There's a couple of really important things to know about group buys. When you submit your order for a group buy, which happens very frequently like that RTS, there will be a date and time that you can come and comment, and there are always very specific rules for group buys, so make sure you read the entire post associated with it. But when you do place your order for that group buy, there's a couple things you have to be very particular about. One, you need to be clear what you want in terms of size and everything, and you can't change that because the maker will order fabric based on what those pre-orders are. So make sure when you order you know exactly what you want and that you're not going to change your mind or back out, because everyone's kind of order is based on the sum of those small orders in those comments. Does that make any sense? I hope so. Second thing is to have extra patience. Group buys take a really long time because there's the additional fabric pre-order time tacked on. So I've seen many group buys that take up to 12 weeks before they're actually able to even start shipping packages. So you really need to know in advance that this is not something you want to order for your friend's birthday that's coming up on Saturday. This is an investment of your patience and time. And that you will frequently be asked either to pay a deposit, a percentage of the final cost, or the full amount up front, and that is completely at the maker's discretion. BSTs are buy-sell trade groups, and these are non-maker affiliated groups, usually where people are selling used, secondary, pre-loved items, and these are a great place to experiment with learning about what makers, what shapes, what materials you like, because of course you're getting them usually to some degree at a discount, less than you would pay for them new, and without the crazy hectic stress of those flash sales. Although I've seen some destashes go pretty quickly. Destashes are just sales out of people's personal collections, although there are also usually on BST groups new makers that don't have a lot of experience yet, so that they're kind of trying things out. So BST groups are really great to join. Abbreviations you need to know in terms of condition in used secondary sales groups. New obviously means nothing has happened to it besides it's been out of the package. New prepped only means that that person purchased that pad, opened it, washed it according to their initial pre-wash routine, but never wore it. EUC means excellent used condition. That means this has been minimally worn and there is no staining and it looks like new, but it has been worn a few times. Shadow staining is a slight discoloration on the fabric of a stain that you may or may not be able to get out based on your stain treatment techniques. And slight staining is a little bit more to a degree, a higher degree of staining that again you may or may not be able to get out. You may find it gross, but I can attest personally that destashes are a absolutely wonderful way to try out new makers and get really good ideas and try things for a little bit less money. Many makers these days have become so popular that they have closed either temporarily or permanently their customs lists, but most makers still have some sort of customs protocol that should be listed in the pin post or the files. If there is a customs list, have patience. You will wait, sometimes a very long time. And be aware that when your name does come up, you are expected to order and pay immediately so that you don't hold up the line. In general, with all of these types of sales, you need to pay promptly or even immediately if that is possible for you. Again, these are individual people working out of their homes, and it is unfair to try and get them to make you something before you have paid for it. Most makers will not begin construction on your order until you have paid them. Notifications. If there is a maker that you know sells out super quickly, but you really want to know what's going on with their group, turn on the notifications for that group so that you will always be aware of when those things are happening. Also, join non-maker affiliated Facebook groups. I really recommend Amy Nix, The Alternative Link, Rumps Lovers, and Paddocks. Paddock 101 is a really great new group that I think they're going to do very cool things, and they have a YouTube channel as well. Cloth Pads BST, Cramps, there's a lot of them, and they're wonderful. So I do recommend finding those. You'll start to get to know people and learn new things. Shipping completely depends on where you're located. Again, make sure you tell the seller if you are international to her before she invoices you. My experience in the US is that shipping within the US is usually about $3 for up to 3 pads, and then it goes up. I don't know a lot about international shipping. When I have ordered from Canada, I find that my shipping has been, we're usually around $6 for up to 3 pads, but it can go up a little bit, and postal costs change all the time. Abbreviations, most pads are sold as plus shipping, so you need to remember that your amount will be more than just the cost shown. And also, you can see some sellers who sell pads as PPD, which is postage paid, so you don't need to add shipping into the cost. So just pay attention to that. Shipping times vary dramatically. Check the pen post, check the files, ask the seller if you're unclear what the turnover time will be. Some sellers are very fast, even with customs or RTS, but many need a lot more time. A lot of these women have jobs, children outside of just this business, so do not expect to receive things within a week unless you are expressly told you will. And if you are concerned about a delay in a package, private message that seller and just send a polite message asking if there's a concern or a problem. Don't just start asking all over in the Facebook groups without contacting the seller first and seeing if you can come to an agreement. That said, if you do have a very bad experience with a seller, there are groups on Facebook for that that you can search for, or you can contact an admin in any of your other groups to ask them what to do. It's really complicated, I know. And it's really stressful, I know, and there's a lot more here that I wasn't even able to tell you. Sometimes you'll miss out, sometimes you'll win. It's hard. So why do I think you should investigate Facebook as an option for purchasing cloth pads and menstrual cups? Here's my reasons. There are amazing makers on Facebook who do not sell on Etsy or other platforms. All of my very top 5 favorite pad shops are either exclusively or at least primarily operating through Facebook. You also get sneak peeks for sales, coupon codes, and giveaways. You get a chance to have a say too. Makers frequently will post polls on their pages asking you about your preferences so they can better cater to their market. Those other marketplaces where you purchase things a lot, they're great, but they are just that, marketplaces. Facebook is not that. It's a social network. It's a community. It's a place where you can learn, you can experiment, you can exchange information and ideas with sellers and also just other women in the community. Facebook is kind of like our virtual menstrual hut. You should visit it regularly for support and sharing. I hope that answers many of the questions you never thought you had about shopping on Facebook. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like to know anything else, or if you think I left anything out that's super important. I am a little rushed today, but I really wanted to get this out to you this week. Thank you, as always, for watching. I will see you soon.